Hey guys, it's Adam here, and do you see the flag? Just the sneaky way. Look at my flag. Um, yeah, today I wanted to make a video actually tonight because I'm making a late night video. But I want to talk about a really important question. I think it's a question that is not only of interest to trans people, but it's also an interest for trans allies. Maybe you've got your loved ones who's maybe about to start transitioning or just start transitioning, and you just would like to know if testosterone will change them, like their personality, their behavior, or whatever, just change them as a person. And the answer really can't be a yes or no. It's really difficult because there's a lot of factors that you have to take in. So let's begin. Number one, dysphoria. I mean, dysphoria is like the way I would describe, like, night terrors. Well, take dysphoria as an all day terror. It's just like, a monster that is hanging over you all day long, every day, every minute, every second of every day. There's just something, a heavy, dark shadow over you that just stops you from seeing, you're seeing everything with a tinted vision. So what a person can be shy, but they're not particularly shy. They're just shy because of their insecurities, because of their low self-esteem, because of their um, low confidence. I, for example, when I went out with my pals, it was really hard for me to engage in many conversations or laugh on jokes they said or tell a joke because I'll be constantly worrying about how I feel about my body, if my chest is flat enough, is the if the bulge in my pants is real enough, is how are people perceiving me. I was constantly running this marathon, you know, thinking about how I'm perceiving myself and how other people are perceiving me. It was just, I never really had the moment or the chance to kind of look around and enjoy the moment, enjoy what was going on. So yeah, as a result, but dysphoria can just change your entire personality, and not that it will change it forever, but it will affect you on day-to-day basis until it goes away. So when a person starts testosterone, hopefully the dysphoria starts to fade away because they become more comfortable within themselves. And once you're comfortable within yourself, you start to see rainbows. Like, this shadow kind of just starts to kind of creep away little by little, and you start to see rainbows instead, and life is again beautiful, and you like what you're seeing. There's not, the more you're comfortable with your body, the less you're worried about it. So you start to listen to people when they talk, engage in conversation. You're not going to be as shy to engage in a conversation or say on what's on your mind. Like, for example, before transition, if I seen, men talk, say sexist, bigot things, for example, I would feel really insecure to come in and say, hey man, that's not cool, don't say that. That just simply couldn't. But now I could because my self-esteem is increased. I'm confident. I am more comfortable with myself to just come out and say, hey, that's not cool. And there's just one silly example, but there are so many things. And the funny thing is that even trans people don't know that they're not aware of their entire self. So I didn't really get to know myself for real until I started testosterone. Because the more I became happy within myself, there was like, it's like my brain, there was a big foggy storm over my brain, and that was starting to fade away, and I was just starting to learn a lot about myself, about my personality, about my behavior, about my skills and hobbies. I just discovered a world of endless possibilities within myself, and that was amazing. And it's not that I never had this before. I've always had it. I was so miserable to think about the positive things. Does that make any sense? So yeah, you start testosterone, that will change your behavior, but it's not because of it. It is as a result. Majority of transsexual people suffer from stress, anxiety, and often depression. And many studies show us that stress, anxiety, and depression can cause hormone imbalance and can cause chemical imbalance in the brain, and that as a result can affect someone's behavior or attitude, can just affect their state of mind simply. And that's just not, I'm not just speaking about trans people, there's just all people get affected by this. And so when a trans person is, pre-transition, is, suffering from a lot of anxiety, depression, and a person would interact on a day-to-day situations. So when a trans person starts their hormone therapy, their testosterone, because I can't really, I'm speaking in particular about trans men. I can't really say much about trans women because I haven't really gone through that experience. So when a trans man starts their testosterone, the hormone therapy, um, the stress, anxiety, and depression, this cloud can start to fade and melt away. And when that happens, the person will change naturally. The person will change. They'll become happier within themselves. They'll become more comfortable, and they'll start to be themselves truly. And that to you, that would seem like a change in personality, but actually that's their personality all along. They weren't able to show off because their mind has been so foggy, because of, depression or anxiety. So this change is as a result of testosterone, not because of testosterone, if that makes any sense, of testosterone. So one that is really, really common, well, I've actually heard from quite a lot of trans people, and I kind of have a different take on it, and that's anger. So, so a lot of trans people say, oh, when I start um, testosterone, I become angrier. And this is, for me personally, this is a really funny thing, because I think that I was a lot angrier before testosterone than I am now. I was just an angry kid. I hated the world. I hated people for how they treated me. I just hated everything. I was angry all the time. And yeah, I just was really, really angry. But then slowly but surely, after I started testosterone, I started to calm down. And I'm actually not as angry as I used to be. Actually, I'm not angry at all. I mean, I do get angry, obviously, when it's a situation, or, reacts on a situation. But actually, I find myself that I calm down very quickly. I don't like to be angry. So my theory on this, and I think, is, again, coming back again to testosterone making you feel more comfortable and just be really truly 100% yourself. And it's really, you might not understand this as maybe an ally who's not a transsexual person. You might not really get this because you just grow up, and you seeing who you are, you being who you are, and therefore you experience everything that you are from a very young age. Obviously there are always exceptions to the rule, but this is just talking in general. But for a trans person, this is not a reality. We don't really get to experience big parts of ourselves, our personality, our behavior, our hopes and dreams, and how we see life until we become comfortable. And that's usually after testosterone. So naturally, like, if someone has got, a trait, like any traits, it will be amplified by testosterone because you are more comfortable to be yourself. So like if someone has got bad temper and they start testosterone, and that's kind of that's in their personality, that's they're naturally like that, and they start testosterone, that will be amplified, and therefore they will seem angrier. But I don't think that's like something that all trans people experience, because I haven't experienced. I am much more calmer now. So yeah. So this is my take on it. The second thing that I would say that will happen, actually I do agree on this one, that will happen because of testosterone, and that is crying, or rather not happen because of testosterone. So before testosterone, I was like, yeah, I teared up a lot, and trust me, I do not like crying. Like I really, really do not cry, not like crying. But I would be like, watching a movie that maybe I've seen like a million times, and I watch it, and it's not even a sad movie, and I will cry. I'm like, why the fuck am I crying? But it just happens. I had really genuinely had no control over, the tears. And perhaps that might have been, a side effect to the suppressed anxiety, depression, negative emotions, that, just got maybe triggered by something, and voila. Obviously, we have to count in estrogen because it does help. It does make it a lot easier for you to cry. Um, Coupled with, the negative emotions, anxiety and depression, that might make it a lot easier for you to cry. Um, but since I started testosterone, it's been really, really hard for me to cry. I mean, really hard for me to shed a tear or two. I mean, like in the last 7 years, I'll say I cried maybe twice, like proper cry. It doesn't actually last as long as it used to as well. Yeah, twice in this last 7 years, and maybe a couple of times where I've just shed like a sad lonely tear. But yeah, it's really hard to cry. Like sometimes I feel really sad and I feel like I should be crying right now. It might, make me feel better, but I just can't. I just can't make it happen. And when it does happen, I don't know what makes it happen. It's just simply really hard for me to cry, and I think that's the case for many transsexual men. Um, so yeah, there is a change in hormones because estrogen does make it a little bit easier. You're more likely to cry easier on estrogen, but again, I will repeat, there are always exceptions to the rule. I think the majority of the changes that trans people go through are simply just they are just simply more in tune with their entire self and expressing and experiencing parts that they've never experienced before. I have changed since I started testosterone. I've changed like so much, like genuinely so much, but it's not, and in a positive way. But yeah, I don't think it was all because of testosterone. I was just given the space to really be myself and express myself without feeling bad about it. Well, comfortably express myself, to want to express myself. It just gave me the clear mind, the clear head to think about who I am as a person, what is my personality, what are my behaviors, what are my hopes and dreams, how do I perceive the world, how do I perceive people, you know, what do I like, what I don't like. It just gave me this opportunity to really discover myself, a chance that I never really had before. I was so overwhelmed by bad feelings that I was feeling that I never really got to think about who I am and be comfortable expressing who I am. Um, so yeah, that's usually what happens. So if you've got a pal, or if your kid or your friend or your partner is about to start, testosterone or transition, um, I think it will seem weird for you at the start to see this kind of change because they, we as, trans people, we don't know what's coming either, because we never had the chance to explore ourselves. So I don't think we really know what is coming. But I don't think it's anything bad. Um, yeah, I don't think it's anything bad. It's actually really, really, it's mostly positive. Um, and yeah, you're gonna see a change, but I think you should be really happy about the change you'll see because they're just gonna be happy expressing themselves, and that's amazing. Might seem more outgoing and funnier, and yeah, because I think I had a really bad sense of humor before testosterone, and I'm not saying that I have a great sense of humor right now, but I'm saying that I'm just a lot more like I'm lighter now, like I understand jokes, I laugh, I like laughing, and I can tell jokes even if they're lame, but I can say them. I'm just comfortable to make a fool of myself now. I don't care. Well, before testosterone, I was constantly worried about this action make me look more feminine, you know, because the last thing I wanted to do is to look more feminine to the people who constantly criticize me for who I am. You know, they don't believe that I'm a trans man, so I constantly have to act in this macho kind of attitude and not show any weakness or feminine side, you know, so you know I don't get judged and say, well, how are you doing that? You know, you're obviously a woman or something like that. I don't know. But you know, that was constantly what was happening, you know, racing through my brain. So I had to always be like, oh no, maybe if I do that, then that will make me seem more feminine, so I better not do it. Or I remember once I laughed, and that was before testosterone. I laughed because I heard something, and my laugh just came out so high pitched, and it didn't actually have a high pitched voice. Naturally, I had a deeper voice, but this laugh just came out. And it was high pitched, and that just was like a stab in my heart. I was like, oh my God, because I was surrounded by people that didn't really believe I was a trans man. So that was like, oh my God, they'll never believe that I'm a man because I just laughed in this voice. And obviously, I had no control over the voice because that was me, my physicality, but you can't explain that to them. So yeah, so that was just one silly example to explain how the little things can really make you not want to speak, laugh, interact, do anything. It just doesn't want you to do anything. So yeah, I think if you're a trans person, I think there are great changes ahead of you, and I think that they're to be embraced. And if and for other people who are not trans, but you know are close to a trans person that who's about to start testosterone, I think you also should embrace it because you'll see like you know amazing things happen in front of you, and I think it's yeah, it's quite amazing. Anyway, before this video gets too long, because I just blah 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 blah. So yes, if you have any questions, if you think I haven't mentioned anything or anything like that, just hit me with your questions in the comments, and I will reply to you because I'm keeping up with that. Yeah. Okay.